who are watching this after this has been archived, I've probably already edited it so that the first couple of minutes of silence have been edited out, and now you're hearing me as I talk. But what just happened was me having unconscious resistance to what I was about to do. And what I am about to do is I am about to do something. I'm about to introduce an idea to you that has the potential to launch me further into the realization and the manifestation of my infinite Godhood, which, by the way, you are also. I start out saying that your destiny, if you are a human being, no matter how horrible your life is, no matter how horrible and pathetic you think your life is, your destiny is to become God, is to become an infinite being of light. In fact, as I said, you already are an infinite being of light who's chosen to become incarnated. I am about to do something that has the potential to further my ability to become God on earth. I say that as I say it, there's all parts of me that just go, blasphemy. There's all parts of me inside of me that go, I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know. There's all parts of me that goes, wait, once you tell them this, you can't take it back, and they may criticize you for it. I'm sharing this with you because I lead by example. And if you want to learn from me, it means you have to do what I do. If you don't think that I have what it takes to be somebody you want to follow, whether that's just from afar on YouTube or you want to work with, then you may not like what I'm about to tell you. But I am going to do something here, and I'm going to introduce something here for you that will help to propel me. You heard my voice crack. That will help to propel me to become what I just said we are all destined to be. So this isn't the one step. I'm going to get to the one step, but what I'm doing right now is I'm showing you by example. So here it is. As you know, I've changed my name recently. I took on a spiritual name that was given to me actually in a dream by one of my guides. Who happens to be a female with blonde hair. That's all I can tell you. I don't know anything else about her. Probably an ancestor. This was it was over 10 years ago, and a psychic. Now, I don't trust most psychics, but a woman who has psychic ability said to me, "Tonight, you're gonna get a message from your guides. They're gonna tell you something." And she kept on saying, "I have this feeling about you. I just can't shake it. There's this feeling about you. There's just a lot of power about you. You're gonna accomplish a hell of a lot. You don't even realize what you're gonna accomplish." And that night, I had a dream, and in that dream, I was given a name. I was given two names. One of them was a Hebrew name, which I looked up, which meant something like lion something. And I also know that these were names that I had in past lives. Now, I don't feel a connection to Abrahamic religion and whatever. It's nice that I had that life. I accept it. Great. But the name that stuck with me, which is also a name I've had in a past life, is now my spiritual name, which is Mahadeva. And so I have put that out there. People who choose to, they can call me Mahadeva, because that's my spiritual name. It also happens to vibrate with my ascendant in my Vedic astrology. So the syllable for my ascendant is Ma. So whenever anybody calls me any name starting with Ma, even if it's Michael, if they call me Mahadeva, then what happens is they empower my physical body. This is one of the reasons why I'm in as good of health as I am and as strong as I am at my age. People still think I'm 40 years old, 45. I'm 56. So I think that's one of the reasons. So, one of the things that has happened throughout my life as a teacher is that there have been students who have had very strong reactions to me. well, on all kinds of different levels. But one of them is they get a very strong reaction that they see me as some kind of being, some kind of powerful being, that they have dreams about me, that I talk to them in their dreams, that they hear my voice in their head, telling them, guiding them towards what they ought to do. When they hear my teachings, they have a strong desire to connect with me. One person on a recent, last time I was on, said, "Can I come and live in your house? I'll just be a fly on the wall." Of course, I said, "No, you can't do that." There's been times when I've been in person talking to students and they feel this transmission. I touch them and they go into all kinds of crazy things happen. I don't take any of that to mean anything other than they are ready to learn, and I am the symbol through which their unconscious mind allows them to connect with their higher selves and or any higher beings that communicate through me. I am aware that there are times that when I teach that I am inspired to say things, and I can see when I watch later, I go, holy crap, I didn't know I knew that. That's how I know somebody else is channeling through me. It's not like I'm in trance and I forget about it. I'm fully conscious and part of it, but you get what I'm saying. So what I am going to invite you to do, if you feel led to do so, if you think it will be helpful for you, if you feel a strong desire to connect more deeply with me as a teacher, then I'm going to give you a suggestion to do. You can get an idol of Shiva. You can get a picture of Shiva. Put it on your altar. And you can chant this mantra. I'm going to write it down here for you. The mantra is Om Hang Mahadevaya Nama. Om Hang Mahadevaya Nama. And what that will do is that is going to allow you to connect to the vibration of my spiritual name. When I took that spiritual name on, I was conscious that I wanted to align my vibration to the vibration of that name. The vibration of that name, Mahadeva, is what I seek to become, which is great light. One of the, see, right now, I'm just being honest with you. As I'm telling you this, all of my insecurities are coming up and telling me, oh my God, I can't believe they're going to think you're so full of yourself. You can't, I'm not listening to that. I'm taking action based on the assumption that I am like you. I am an infinite being of light. I am God. So are you. This is the action that I am taking. So by vibrating on that level of great light, if you are coming onto my channel, if you work with me, whatever it is, and you feel that there is something that you're getting from my teaching, this gives you an avenue to connect to that vibration that I am tapping into. This is a traditional thing that goes on in, it goes on anywhere in the East where they have an unbroken connection into the prehistory. You go to China, they do the same thing. They have pictures of the teachers, whether they're alive or dead, they'll be on the altar. They do this in India as well. They'll put the picture of their guru on their altar and they chant, they can chant something like, some guru mantra, Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. It just means that you bow to the highest teacher, and that your teacher happens to be the channel through which you are connecting to your true highest guru. Now, on a selfish level, what I get from that is that there are people chanting the name of Mahadeva, Shiva. They're connecting directly to the Mahadeva aspect of Shiva, and they are aligning their thoughts of me with that. I benefit from that. It means that my life will start taking a higher vibrational path. The responsibility of the student is to stimulate the teacher to teach them what they need to know. Not on a conscious level. It's not your job to say, I think you should teach me, blah, blah, blah. Although if you can't, you can. I mean, I may or may not listen to you. But on an unconscious level, what will happen is that I will be stimulated to teach you what your soul needs to know. This is how the connection is made. Do you understand? So for those of you who have that desire, I give you that opportunity. I absolutely do not require it, and I don't personally care if you do it or not. I won't be offended in any way to what degree you do or do not agree with me. I am human, like you. And I strongly resent any teacher who allows their students to see them as anything other than human. I think it is incredibly destructive. I will never, ever let that happen. Having said that, I will also not take away any experiences you have as a result of learning from me. I just don't have to take it personally. I understand it because I understand how all that works, and we can get into that another time. So, now you just saw me take an action. What's important about that is that I can't take it back. This is one of the things you have to do. If you want to realize your godhood on this earth, you have to take fearless action towards your highest awareness, and you have to take actions that are risky, that you cannot take back. You've decided, let's say like me, you've decided you want to live on the beach, and you want to be able to live in whatever it is, whatever your lifestyle is, your soul has said, that's what I want. And you can't do that right now based on your income. Here's what you do. You go looking until you find the place that you really want to live, even though you can't afford it now. And you go and you apply and you sign a lease. And then that is an act you cannot take back. And now you're going to be responsible for that rent. Guess what ends up happening? You will find a way to manifest the money to afford it. Those are the kinds of actions that you take. So what I was saying in the beginning, which was all in silence, which now I can say, what I was saying in the beginning was that in order to be the one step that you have to take, in order to become God on earth, is a very simple step. It may not be easy, but it is incredibly simple. That's why, YouTube loves numbers. The 3 steps, the 5 steps, 10 steps. The one step to becoming a God and escaping immortality. Escaping reincarnation, escaping the matrix, achieving immortality. The one step is to own that you are already infinite, immortal, omnipotent, omniscient, that you are the most powerful being in the universe, that you have chosen to incarnate in this body here and now with all of its limitations and challenges in order to learn how to achieve that. I'll say it again. You accept the idea that you have chosen to incarnate in this body with all of its current limitations and challenges in order to learn how to be omnipotent, omniscient, infinite God on earth. Start with that assumption. If you cannot start, actually anybody can. If you choose not to start with that assumption, then there's nothing I can do for you. If you can start with that assumption, even though you don't believe it, even though you don't feel it, even though you feel like I do, even though you feel like you're blaspheming, even if it frightens you. No matter what your feelings are or your thoughts about it, if you can choose to adopt that assumption, then you will take actions that will reflect that. And that is what I was saying earlier. The matrix responds to your actions, not your feelings. What I was saying earlier is that I have proven in my life. What I'm teaching you now is something I have proven. And what I'm showing you in my actions is that I continue to take actions based on that assumption. And that every single time that I take actions on that assumption, there is resistance within me. And there is fear and there is doubt. And I will try my best to always show you in real time as I do it. Because the only teachers that I've ever benefited from are teachers that I can relate to. Teachers who have either been where I've been or are where I'm at. And they show me through their actions how to accomplish what I want. And the only teachers that I have in my life are teachers who have what I want. And then I go to them and I say, how did you do that? Tell me how you did that. And I try and do that with you. I try and show you. So everything I teach you how to do, I'm either in the process of doing or I've already done it. And what I have proven to myself is the assumption, and let me be clear about this. The way spiritual research has worked for me is that I have had an intuition about the nature of the universe, or I've had a shamanic vision, or I've had a dream, or I've had a visitation, or something like that. But more than that, I mean, those are like 10%. The 90% of the things that I have uncovered through my research have started as intuitive awarenesses about the nature of the universe. And then what I do is I choose to adopt those assumptions that make sense to me. And then I take actions on those assumptions and I watch what happens. And it has not failed me. The assumptions that I have started from is that, number one, before anything, I existed. And I am immortal, I am omnipotent, I am omniscient, and that I chose to incarnate as a human being so that I could fully, completely appreciate and learn the first assumption. And the matrix has always responded to me in two ways. First way is if I operate from fear, if I operate from the assumption that I am small, that I am limited, that there are things out there more powerful than I that can control me, that can harm me, that can do things to me. If I operate from that assumption, that is exactly what I get. Poverty, illness, sadness, loneliness, isolation. If I operate from a different assumption, regardless of how I feel, if I operate from the assumption that I am infinite, omnipotent, omniscient, that I have chosen to become incarnated in this lifetime, and that I have the power to intend my reality, whenever I operate from that assumption, that is what the matrix gives me. As the process of elimination, I've come to the conclusion that the matrix is designed, since I am God, I must have designed it. It is designed to give me one of two reactions. It means that I designed it that way so that I could continue to teach myself, sometimes through hard knocks, negative means, learn what not works, to learn that I am in fact Mahadeva. I am the great God. See, even as I say it, there's so much in me that just bristles at that. So this is really the only step there is. That's it. Everything I teach are just techniques to allow you to get to that one step, that one assumption. It's very simple. It's not easy. Okay? So I will take questions. This is a question and answer. I only want your questions. That's it. I don't want anything else. Anti-kami question. So which is it are we supposed to escape? The matrix, or are we supposed to brave the matrix? So don't try and force me into something in your question. I didn't tell you, well, in the clickbait title I say escape the matrix, but the truth is that you're not supposed to escape the matrix. The way to escape the matrix is to master it. You created the matrix. And the matrix can be a trap. You created it to be a trap if you operate from a false assumption about who you are. If you operate from an assumption of limitation, that you're tiny and that there are things more powerful than you that can manipulate and control you. You designed the matrix to respond that very way, so you would get so tired of it. Now, it may take thousands of lifetimes. This is why it's so important to understand that you do have free will in this evolutionary process. You can choose to respond to the assumptions that I'm sharing with you, or you can choose to stay in what's comfortable, which is to be a sheep, to be a slave, to be a victim. People are victims because they choose to be, because it's easier. There's a payoff in it. In their mind, there's a payoff, or they wouldn't do it. And eventually, maybe after 10 lives, 100 lives, 1,000 lives, 1,000,000 lives, you go, oh my God, I am so tired of this. I don't want to be, I refuse. I refuse to be that anymore. And I'm going to be in control, and I'm going to intend my reality. And then boom, all of a sudden you start to learn that you are in fact God. You start to learn that. And the more you learn that, the more you act on it. And the more you learn about it, the more afraid you get. And then you go back and forth, and you take 2 steps forward and 1 step back, and this is life. So don't try and throw me into some either or. So which is it? Are we supposed to escape the matrix, or are we supposed to brave the matrix? You're supposed to master the matrix. You're not supposed to do anything. It's fun. You can do whatever the hell you want. You don't want to master it? Don't. You can stay here as long as you want. You can reincarnate as many times as you want. And if you think about it, a lot of you listening to me, if you think about it, you're like, yeah, I know. I kind of keep choosing the chaos because it's fun. Don't lie to me. You know you do. Wannabe victims. You're playing a part. We watch movies with drama so that we can cry and we can get scared. We watch movies because it's fun. You create drama because it's fun. When it stops becoming fun, you'll stop doing it. Maybe not in this lifetime, but at some point. And that's why people leave me. Because they get to that point, and on an unconscious level, they're not done playing the game, so they leave. I won't put up with it, meaning I won't co-sign their victimhood, and then they leave. All right. Okay, can anyone else hear him? All right, yeah, so I didn't have... I was in my unconscious resistance. You caught me. You caught your teacher in unconscious resistance. I did it. Okay, question, did you forget to turn on your sound? Yep, I did. Okay. Hey, there he is. All right. So any more questions? No, the title of this stream, strike. So Wazi Schmazi, new to the channel, welcome. This is a question and answer. I don't care about your thoughts or opinions right now. If you have a question, I'll answer it. I don't see a question here. Avalon of Glim, Mere, question. By the way, you're one of the people I've seen that has subscribed to my other channel. So I have unlisted videos, and I use another channel to make those unlisted videos. There's nothing to be gained by subscribing to that other channel. If you're lucky, maybe I'll forget to make it an unlisted video and you'll get to see a video you're not supposed to see that you haven't subscribed for. So I don't care if you, but there's a video on there that tells you don't subscribe to this channel. This is only for unlisted, and you're one of them. I just had to point that out. Is there a specific picture of Shiva that we should find, and how many times do we chant the mantra? All right, so Avalon of Glymmere. I'll give you a couple options. It's a good question. If you already have a mantra from me, with a ritual that you've gotten from a Vedic astrological reading, either from me or one of my apprentices, because they're my apprentices, then you can chant it 4 times before you do your mantra. So I chant Ganesha, Om Shri Ganeshaya Nama, 4 times. And then if I were you, I would chant Om Hang Mahadevaya Nama 4 times, and then I would chant my mantra. If you don't have a mantra, you can make this your mantra, at least for the time being. In which case, go watch my video about how to chant a 40-day ritual. And I teach you how to use a mala. And so to answer your question, it's 108 times. If you're not doing another ritual mantra, you should only be doing one main mantra at a time. So when I tell you to chant to Ganesha 4 times and Mahadeva 4 times, that doesn't count. Those are like you're honoring Ganesha who starts things, and you're honoring the energy that comes through your teacher. And then you're doing your mantra. If you don't have a mantra, you can start with that one. And at the very least, you'll get connected to to your highest awareness, Mahadeva, the great light. I was going to say something, about besides being given that name, I went into, everybody can look for a song. A song is just a phrase or a song. It's your shamanic song. That's one of the things that we find in a lot of traditions, is that people will find their song, their power song. So I asked the universe what mine was, and what came to me was, light flows into me from the heavens above and shines out in all directions as through a diamond, healing, enlightening, and transforming the world. And I went, I don't want that. And yet, that is my essence. My ascendant is in Magha, which means great. Mah, great. And it has to do with a bright light, the bright light. Mahadeva is a name for Shiva, which means great God or great deity. But if you really look at it, it means great light, because Deva comes from light. And so this is why you see all these things unfolding in me, that I'm not making this stuff up. This is actually coming from, this is how I do research. This is how I check to see if something is real or not from the spiritual realm. The evidence will be there in your life, as opposed to people who take their projections and just project onto, divinity. I got to tell you, man, I was watching, I won't give you the name of the person, but, I'm still fascinated by this twin flame thing. And there is a channel from a woman who claims to be a twin flame. I'm trying not to laugh. A twin flame seeking reunion. And she does psychic channeling of the divine masculine. And so she chanted the divine masculine, and she spent 20 minutes speaking as though she was the divine masculine, and all the divine masculine had to say was what a screw up he was, and how he's been unconscious this way and destructive this way, and we've been looking for things this, and we've caused all you this problem, and yeah, we're still off with our other wives and everything, but we're so stupid, and we're going to wake up soon, and we're coming back. And I couldn't believe what I was listening to, that woman can't see that she's just projecting her own pain from all of her dysfunctional relationships with whatever guy didn't give her what she wanted. that she's just so in denial about the fact that she's codependent that she can't accept that. So instead she has to channel the fifth dimension of the guy who's over there married to some other girl. She has to chant that, and he has nothing but bad things to say about himself. Like, what an idiot he is. That's the difference. You don't just project your fantasies and fears and desires onto the divine and say that it's spirituality. If you have that experience, you go and you see if in real life it comes out that way. In real life, your divine masculine is married to somebody else, having kids with some other woman. That's the reality of it. You got to use the reality of this life to prove whatever your experiences are. I don't know what the hell I just said, but let's move on. So Wazi Shmazi, I'm only interested in your questions. I don't care about your opinions. If you keep throwing out your opinions, you get in the way of me finding the questions. I'm going to mute you. All right, let's see how good he is at following instruction. Sonic Fox, question, could you break down Om Namah Shivaya so I can say it more correctly? You mean verbally, phonetically? Ong, it's a long O, it looks like Ang. But the NG is actually the M sound. So whenever you see like the Sanskrit character for Om, the little dot on top of it is actually an NG sound. So the actual sound is a long O with an NG sound. Om. You can close your lips if you want, make it Om, but the NG sound has to be there. Even a lot of Vedic Hindus don't know that that's what that is. All seed sounds, Lam, Vam, Ram, Yam, Ham, they all end with an NG sound. It vibrates the pineal and the pituitary and releases the soma, releases the ambrosial nectar of immortality. So always, that's what the ing rune is. The ing rune is just that, is the NG sound. Ing. All right, Ong is the first word, Nama, which means I bow. And Shivaya means to Shiva. Shiva means auspicious. It was originally one of the names of Indra and has now become its own god in its own right, which is the same as, it's not exactly the same, but it's the same essence of Odin. Woden and Shiva are the same essence of highest awareness. One is in the Germanic tradition, one is in the Vedic tradition. Ong, opening up the third eye. Nama, I bow. Shivaya, I bow to Shiva, the highest awareness. Oh, so Wazi Shmazi did ask a question. He just didn't know how to do that. If you have, as you call, bristles at the thought, does that mean you are not yet comfortable with yourself, with the idea, and are still mastering yourself? Yes, that's exactly what it means. I'm teaching through example. If I, unlike some teachers who either claim to be or allow themselves to be called such, if I were truly enlightened, I wouldn't have a physical body. I would be gone. I'd be out of here. I would have no function to you. You've heard the phrase, if you see Buddha by the road, kill him. Because he's a distraction. That's the thing I can't stand. I mean, I'm thinking of one guy in particular who I can't really find a whole lot wrong with his teaching. Some of it is good. Some of it I find really superficial and just, why? And what bothers me is that people think that he's saying something which he's not. Anyway. But what bothers me is he walks around with the turban and the beard and the robe and people just, and they treat him like, and he allows people to think that he's enlightened, like he's achieved total enlightenment. And that bothers me. It's destructive. Because when somebody's in that state and they're looking at him that way, they don't see their own infinity. They will be stuck at that level. And I have no need for you to worship me. I mean, you'd be stupid to do so. I'll just tell you, you'd be stupid. Because I haven't achieved that yet. I still got all kinds of humanity things going on. But I have no interest in that. What I want for you is what I want for myself, which is I want you to realize that you are it. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't people out there that are exhibiting what you want, and you go to them and you say, how did you do that? So you can come to me, because I always say, if you want what I have, you got to do what I do. A lot of people come on here and all they want to do is listen to the YouTube channel and they think that they're accomplishing something. Well, it's not that you're accomplishing nothing, but you would accomplish a hell of a lot more if you did the work. That's what all these links are about, is to take some action, to do some kind of meditative, energetic practice, because that is one key that will empower you to become fully aware. It's not the only way. There are plenty of other ways to do it. That is the way that worked for me, so I teach what works for me. If you've been drawn to me, it's because you have some karmic connection with that kind of a practice, and I am the doorway, the symbol through which you can tap into that. But I have no need for you to continue to be my student forever. I don't care. If you can figure it out today and move on and never come onto my channel, I will be happy. Anti-Kami, what got you into Arnold? Well, I was a stand-up comedian for years, and one of the things I did is I did characters. I was also an actor in Hollywood for years, and I did characters, and I did accents and people and impressions. And Arnold was I mean, Arnold's big now, but he was huge in the 70s and 80s. He was huge. He was everywhere. And he was like nobody had ever seen a human body that looked like that. Nobody had ever seen that. And I still think he's got the best aesthetic of, the Herculean. I mean, nobody's still been able to do better. They get bigger than him, but they haven't done better than he did. And so it was such a funny accent that it took me a while, and I taught myself how to learn it. Now, I knew how to do a German accent, but it took me a while to get Arnold's accent. And so that's what got me into it. What's getting me into it now is I've made the decision recently, because there are things that I want in my life that cost money. I'm totally being straight with you. I want you to see how human I am. And with no regret, I fully embrace everything I'm sharing with you. There are things that I want in my life that cost money. And I've decided that I am going to make my channel, I'm struggling to say it as I say it, I'm going to make my channel the premier YouTube channel for spiritual information. I'm going to make it as big as, that's why you hear the resentment in my voice, the envy as I talk about this other spiritual teacher who I don't understand why people are watching him talk about nonsense. That's my envy. Now, here's a lesson. This is what I say. If you've watched my channel, anybody who comes on here and wants to criticize me, especially if they want to criticize me for being a teacher, or if they want to correct me, or if they want to, somehow, something, criticize me for being too, what is the word? Commercial, for taking money to teach. Instead of arguing with them, I say to them, you're a teacher. You know how I know? Because you want to troll me. So instead of wasting your time criticizing me, start your own channel, write your own books, and teach, because you obviously want to teach. And the reason why you're attacking me is because you are projecting your own insecurity and shame about your own desire to teach. And instead of embracing that and doing that, you are reaffirming your limitation and your inability and your feeling of unworthiness to teach by attacking me. So instead of wasting your time doing that, just go teach. In fact, if you want, go create a YouTube video about how I'm wrong. Start there. And the reason why I tell that is because I've seen that in my life. Whenever I'm envious of somebody else, it means I'm supposed to be that. So this guy, maybe some of you can figure out who he is. I'm envious of him. I'm envious of all of the success he has as a teacher, and that people just hang on his every word, and he gets millions of views every time he throws up a channel about what is the significance of cleaning your toenails from a spiritual perspective. And oh my God, there's 1 billion people watching that video. So instead of wasting my time, like going on his channel and trolling him, just like you guys, instead of doing that, I'm going to become that guy. How do I do that? I come onto this channel and I fearlessly and shamelessly promote myself. So to answer your question, I can do an Arnold character very well. It's one of my favorite characters to do. And also, as on a personal level, I respect him. I admire what he's accomplished. As you can see here, I like to go and get pumped myself. So just like Arnold, I like to pump myself in all kinds of ways. And he created a massive empire for himself out of nothing. He was this poor guy from Austria who didn't speak a word of English, and he looked like a complete total idiot, and he sounded like some kind of zombie Frankenstein person, and he had spaces between his teeth, and he couldn't act. He still is a horrible actor, but he's still the highest paid actor in the world when it comes to action movies, and that's because he said, screw all of you people, this is what I want to do, I'm gonna go do it. So I decided to have him tackle all of the subjects that I want to criticize, and so I can say all the things that I want to say about it, and people will still laugh, and then a bunch of people will come to my channel who wouldn't normally find my channel. I'm ruthlessly marketing myself. I'm debating on whether or not to make Thanos another character. We'll see about that. So did I answer that question? Jameson Colliday, question on the choice of chaos and in some ways giving into unconscious resistance. I know that often I am hard on myself. I feel that without that I do nothing and succumb to the sabotage and comfort. So let me see if I understand your question. I think the basis of your question is that you think that you're lazy and that if you don't beat yourself up, you won't get anything done. Let me read the question again, see if I'm right. On the choice of chaos and in some ways giving into unconscious resistance, I know that often I am hard on myself and feel that without that I do nothing and succumb to the sabotage and comfort. So self-beratement, shame, let's just call it shame, because you're talking about shame. You're trying to shame yourself, and I've done it, so I'm not judging you. You're trying to shame yourself into taking action. That comes from an old idea, and I know something about you. That is an old program that you adopted to get your mother's love, which you will never get. Sorry to tell you. And so this goes back to, if you're new to the channel, the one book, if there's one book of mine you need to read, it's this one, The Shamanic Secret Commandment of How to Get Pumped. No, The Shamanic Secret Commandment to a Perfect Life. The Shamanic Secret Commandment to a Perfect Life. What you will find in that book is that there's really only one battle in this life, and the battle in this life is to live the joy of our soul. When you start taking action towards the joy of your soul, you will be forced to make a choice. Continuously. I'm doing it right now. What you are seeing right here, right now, is that I have chosen to reject the desire to get your love and approval. I have chosen to reject that in favor of my highest success and spiritual awareness. It is my karma to be a spiritual teacher. That is a fact. I know that because you tell me that. I want to do that, but more so you tell me that that's the case. And not just because you tell me that, but I see that I have an impact on people that goes far beyond what I can imagine myself having the ability to do. That proves it to me. It's not coming from me. It's not about me. I get my false humility out of the way. The gods want to teach through me. It's none of my business to judge how big that's supposed to be. On a personal level, I want even more success. And so I'm shamelessly going after it, knowing that some of you will reject me for it. And so I am overcoming my karmic, selfish, false humility coming from need that says, I need your love and your approval. And instead, and as soon as I say it, it makes me happy, listening to my soul that wants to be Mahadeva. My soul wants to be that, the great God. Wants to be big and expansive and huge and amazing and unbelievable and all that. That's what my soul wants to accomplish and achieve. So as a human, with all of my fears and all my limitations and all of that, I'm going to choose to take action towards what my soul wants, regardless of what you think of me. So whenever you feel shame, that is the desire to get love from something or somebody. In your case, Jameson, it's your mother. So I want, again, I've told you this before, you're not lazy. Nobody's lazy. That's the truth. There's nobody in the world that is lazy. If you are sitting on your ass not doing anything, it's not that you're lazy, it's that you are putting a ton of effort into not being your true self. That's what people don't realize. It takes far more effort to be a screw-up than it does to just be marginally successful. I'm not talking about you, Jameson, being a screw-up or not. I'm just saying, you're not lazy. The part of you that wants to sit on the couch, for me, sit on the couch and eat Cheetos and watch Netflix, that part of me, when that kicks in, that's not coming from laziness. That's coming from a real focused, committed effort to not follow my true essence. It's just a lot easier to just follow your true essence. It's more frightening, but it's a lot easier. So you're not lazy at all. It takes a lot of effort to run away from yourself. I hope you're hearing that in the right way. Question continued. How does one distinguish between self-love and care and self-sabotage denial? And I often go to extremes and struggle to distinguish and give myself rewards that are earned. Well, that comes through time and discipline. So this is why, by the way, I gave you an opportunity. Even if you haven't had a ritual from me, I just gave you a ritual. Go and chant, get a mala, go and watch my video on how to do a 40-day ritual, get a mala, get a picture of Shiva, and if you want, you can get a picture of me. I know it's not me, you're using me as a symbol. You can put me on your altar and you chant Om Hang Mahadevaya Nama 108 times every day. If you do that discipline of doing that every day will teach you. Now, it doesn't have to be that. It can be whatever else. It can be becoming Mr. Olympia. Arnold had his, listen to what Arnold says. Go listen to the speeches. He was a kid in Austria right after World War II. And if you know anything about Germany and Austria right after World War II, it was like the worst time to be in that part of Europe. They had been completely, totally defeated and demoralized, and they were realizing what idiots the Nazis were, and oh my God, we bought into all that stuff, and it was just a tough time in the world in general. And he saw these 8mm black and white movies of the United States, and he saw the Golden Gate Bridge and the Empire State Building. He said, "Oh my God, that's an amazing place. I want to go there." He didn't have any money, he didn't know what to do, and then he saw this bodybuilder, Reg Park, who was in the movies, and he looked amazing, and he was this movie star, and he became a bodybuilder and then became a movie star, and he goes, "That's it, that's what I want to be." That was his soul. His soul told him what he wants to be. How do I know that? Because he accomplished it and then some. He became freaking governor of California. If he wasn't an immigrant, he'd be a president today. No doubt in my mind, he would have become president. And he couldn't speak the language when he got here. He didn't have any money. So I have a lot of admiration. We can talk about him personally. We can talk about him politically. I don't care about that right now. He accomplished it. When he's done with this life, whatever other things he may or may not have done, he's not going to say to himself, "Gosh, I really wish I had become a bodybuilder." He's not going to say that. He went and did it. So the discipline I'm trying to focus on. He disciplined himself, and he talks about it all the time. So you don't want to do that. You don't know what to do. I'm telling you, the discipline of doing celestial qigong every day. Doing the Houle breath. If you don't know that, just do this, the Houle breath. Go type it in anywhere, and videos of me doing the Houle breath will come up. In fact, one of these days, I'm going to bring myself to do a live Houle breath where we all get together live and we do the Houle breath. And I intend to make that a regular thing. I just haven't gotten around to getting myself organized. But that's one of the things we're going to do. The discipline of doing yoga, something that requires daily discipline. Discipline of any kind will force you to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And what will help you, Jameson Colliday, what will help you is to learn to distinguish between the two, is to have some kind of discipline, whether it's 10 minutes of the Houle breath or 1 hour of this. You know, don't do more than you can chew, but do it every day no matter what. If in doubt, what I do every day no matter what is I do my mantra ritual. Sometimes that's all I do in terms of my spiritual practice. You know, sometimes it's hard to fit all that in when I'm going to the gym and surfing and on here and, you know, 12 hours a day behind my laptop trying to make my channel the biggest channel in the world, and doing all of the working with clients and doing all the readings and all that. Sometimes all I have is just, you know, 10 minutes to do my ritual. But that's one thing I won't let go of. I will always do that every day no matter what. Have whatever that is, that one thing that you do for your spiritual practice every day, and just do it with the intention of becoming conscious. You can have that as your I want to know the difference between you know, acting against my spirit and acting towards it. Give it some time and just be kind with yourself, and you'll achieve it. Brett Moss, question. You've made videos about solar eclipses. All right, that's true. Do you think there is a connection between a solar eclipse at the beginning of Trump's first term and the coronavirus at the end of that term? Sounds like this isn't really a question, Brett Moss. It sounds like maybe you think that that's the case. That had never entered my mind, so I'm not even going to try. I mean, that would be an interesting thing to say. You know, the question is whether or not this is the end of his term. I mean, it's the end of his first term, but is he going to get reelected? So I can't answer your question. That's a great observation. I think you should make a video about it. Question. Wilhelmer Alefer. Question, was Thanos right? Well, it depends on which Thanos we're talking about. Now, having researched him a little bit, there was the Thanos in the movie, and then there was the Thanos in the comic book. The Thanos in the comic book is a much darker figure. I mean, he's like a serial killer. He's really nasty. The one in the movie? No, of course not. Of course not. You know, if we take him at face value, then he is misguided, but he has an honest desire. He has an honest, conscious desire to bring balance to the universe, but he has clearly an unconscious issue. He's projecting. He's projecting his self-hatred onto the universe. And so what I love about his backstory is that he was rejected by his mother. I love that because then that would be a perfect, like if I were to play that character, that would be my backstory. That I would think about being, you know, a man who, a boy who loved his mother, and his mother tried to stab him to death. And he became aware of that, and then became focused on, and then on an unconscious level, this is his conflict with himself. It would be so much fun to play that. Oh my God, another movie role that should have been mine. So was he right? Of course he wasn't right. Of course not. Wanderer, question. Are you still considering Celestial Qigong level 3? Yes. Or is students not closing down properly still thwarting this from going forward? I'm still considering it. Haven't made up my mind yet. It'll probably happen, but I'm not ready to commit to that yet. Before we do that, let's talk about immortality.thunderwizard.com, because that is, I'm telling you, if you don't have these components that are connected in this, this is the time to get it. And this is very in line with what we're talking about. So we're going to talk about that for a few minutes, and then I'll come back and ask some more questions, or answer some more questions. So let me find that first. Where is that? It's got to be right here close to this. Nope, that's not it. Why is that? What is happening here? My thing's acting strange. Why are you acting strange? There we go. Hang on. I know. Oh, it must be down further down here. All right, let us take a look at this. Nope, that's not it. Let's take a look at... All right, it's not there. Anyway, I won't take up your time with that. Go to immortality.thunderwizard.com. That is something that is, I believe, the best value you're going to get in one chunk about what I'm talking about, especially about your question. If you don't have, you might have all those little things already, but for those who don't, go there now, because that's not going to be around for much longer. And you're saving something like $400 on all that stuff. Here it is. Did I find it? Okay, so what I want to talk to you about right now is a very special package that I've put together, which I think is long overdue. I've been getting a lot of questions about reincarnation, and I've been getting a lot of questions about immortality and health and youth, and what are some of the ways that you can, stay young, stay healthy, stay strong. So, if you know, there's already a service that you can get to by going to immortal.thunderwizard.com, and that is the Becoming an Immortal Phase 1 teaching series, which I teach you a very ancient, esoteric Taoist meditation from Taoist master wizards who are known for living very long lives. And if you've trained in any of these, you know that there are legends of these Taoist masters who have actually become immortals. And what an immortal is that through their spiritual practice, through their energy work, they raise the vibration of their cells up to a certain level that they phase out of three-dimensional existence and they live in multiple dimensions. They're still here, they're still around, but you can't see them. But it's because they have chosen to do this kind of work to become, in the Taoist understanding, to become a god, to become an immortal. So as I said, there's two ways to achieve freedom from reincarnation. One is to achieve all of your desires over multiple lifetimes, and then you never have to come back and you move on to the next phase. The other is to raise the vibrational level of the energy in your organs and in your cells so that you phase out of existence and become what is known as an immortal. And that way you hold on to your awareness and you don't have to forget who you are and come back and relearn everything. So that was the Taoist mindset. The Taoist mindset is, let's do this right once so that we don't have to keep coming back and remembering who we are. And they did that through energy work. Now, the benefits of that, the benefits of doing the immortality meditation is that your cells start to vibrate on a higher level. The energy in the organs and the cells start to vibrate on a higher level, and you end up reversing your aging. So in this package, let me tell you what is in this package. I guess before that, let me just tell you, I swear to you, I'm telling you the truth. Last night, again, I was with a very beautiful young woman who was, I believe she was 22. And I was spending some time with her. And she wanted to know my age, and she said, I want to guess your age. Because I had told her some of the things that I had done, and she said, wow, you've done a lot of stuff. She says, I want to guess your age. And I said, please, I'd love to hear that. So she looked at me and she scrutinized my face and touched my body and my arms. And then she said, I think you're 45. And I said, thank you. That's very kind of you. I'm actually 56. She said, really? Wow. I was actually trying to go older than what I thought just to be safe. But she says, you could pass for 40 if you wanted, especially if you dyed your gray hairs. People wouldn't know how old you were. And I said, thank you. That makes me feel very good. I do feel good. I do feel healthy. So I'm not telling you that to brag. I'm telling you that that is the result of the practices that I've done throughout my life. Now, I've been doing it since I was in my late 20s. But I've learned that there are multiple factors involved. You have to have the right understanding of how the matrix works so that you can get the matrix to give you what you want. You have to understand how the matrix works. You also understand emotionally and psychologically how to interact with life. A lot of people are under stress. They take themselves too seriously. They take other people too seriously. And that has to do partly with you don't know how the matrix functions, and so you feel like you're a victim and all those kinds of things. But the other aspect is not knowing how to do the energy work and the meditations that keep your body young. You have to have all of them. So let me tell you what is in this package. So what we have in this package is you're going to have access to a package that already exists, which is called the 4 Tools to Exit the Matrix. In this package, the first teaching series is called Find Your Perfect Career. Now, I call it Find Your Perfect Career because most people are interested in money and most people want to know what they can do to make all the money that they want. So I named it that. But the reality is that I have discovered is that when you are operating in unison with your internal spiritual purpose, you know how to manipulate the matrix to give you everything that you want. And when that happens, you end up in this really wonderful dynamic where the universe pays you money to be your authentic self. I don't work. I don't have a job. Right now I'm in Australia. I'm living in a 3-bedroom house that I'm renting, and I'm right across the beach from beautiful tropical beaches and beautiful women walking up and down in bikinis, and I surf all day. And then I come and I do some videos and I talk to my friends on the phone and I help them. I get paid to do that. It's something I would do anyway. It's my perfect life. It's my fantasy life. I've come to find out that that's how the universe works. But you first have to know what your fantasy life is. That you will find at Find Your Perfect Career. That in and of itself will get rid of tons of stress, which creates toxins, which age you and gives you disease. Once you get rid of that, it's a lot easier to be healthy and happy. Okay? The next thing in the 4 Tools to Exit the Matrix is the Celestial Qigong. This is my oldest teaching series. I've been selling it for over 10 years. And it is by far the most powerful energy practice I've ever encountered. It connects you to the Ascended Masters, and it works to reverse aging. It works to bring you higher consciousness. It gives you tremendous spiritual connections, shamanic experiences. People tell me that they've done it and they've traveled outside their body and the blue light beings came to them. And I don't promise that. I just gave people this really great Qigong practice that I've learned and deepened my knowledge with. They've had that experience. So you get the Celestial Qigong as well. Then you get the 5 rules to master the matrix. That's absolutely crucial. You must understand who you are and your relationship to the matrix. Most people don't. Most people think that they're trapped in the matrix. That's only if you don't understand who you are and how the matrix responds to you. Once you understand the rules of how the matrix works, it obeys you because you know exactly what levers to pull to make it do what you want. Okay, and then I give you a link to go to the thunderwizard.com subscription page if you want to be a part of that and learn the Manifestation Mastery course and the Mastery of Shamanism. So that, all of that, and even a hell of a lot more than that is in the 4 Tools to Exit the Matrix package. On top of that, I have also added the Becoming an Immortal Phase 1 teaching series where I teach you this ancient meditation from Taoist masters. I teach you a special mudra. I teach you, anyway, I won't give it all here now because there's a lot of teaching in it. And I explain to you the science and understanding from the Taoist wizard mastery understanding of how to escape reincarnation by becoming an immortal. It's very simple, and this is phase one. There's 3 phases to it, and when enough people get through phase one, I'll teach phase 2 and phase 3. Right now, because I am paying off my taxes, I have slashed my prices on everything. So normally, if you were to get the normal price after the savings, these 2 packages would cost you $639. That's after all the savings. I've slashed another $400 off of that, and now it's $239 for all the things that I just mentioned. So go ahead and go to immortality.thunderwizard.com, and you can purchase that slashed price package right here and right now. And maybe this is your window. I'm telling you, the benefits of all this are you get to learn how to live in this world and get paid just to be yourself. You learn how to reduce all of the stress, all of the craziness of your false beliefs about who you are and what the universe is, and all the stress that goes along with that. Once you relieve all the stress of that, you already put yourself in a position to be healthier and happier. Then when you combine the energy work of both the celestial qigong and the immortal phase 1 package, and you do those practices, then you start to reverse the aging process within the cells of the body, within the organs of the body. And then, like me, when you're, 60 is right around the corner for me. Women, if you're a guy, women half your age will comment about how young you look. And at the same time, they'll say, but you're so mature and so wise. It's the best of both worlds. I'm telling you, man, this is the best of both worlds for me now. And I'm only telling you this because people are bringing it to my attention. And since people are asking me about reincarnation and how to avoid the pain of reincarnation, you have to understand that there's more to it than that. I'm going to talk about that in some other videos, but for this right now, I just want to introduce you to this new package, the Immortality package, immortality.thunderwizard.com. Save $400 off the already slashed prices, and for $239 you get, what would probably be over $1,000 worth of teachings in one little package. Okay, so this is for a limited time only. Take advantage of it now, because once I've paid my taxes off, I'm going to go everything back to their normal prices. All right? Thanks, my friends. I will see you very soon. All right. Now let's take a look at some more questions here. Media Box 300. Please write the word question, otherwise I'll miss it. Put question before your actual question. Do you think that other gurus might be successful, quote unquote, because he markets his teachings to the bottom third of the enlightenment period where there is way more people? Are you asking me a question, or are you telling me your opinion? Because that doesn't sound like a question. No, I don't think that. That might be the result of it. It might be that I'm frustrated because I believe that I am giving people high-level, deep teachings, and that a lot of people out there aren't ready or don't want that. They just want to be told that everything is great, and as long as you worship the guru and say this mantra and do this, that you will achieve enlightenment, and everything is love and light. And there's just a huge market for that, and that's just the reality. And as much as I want to, tap into that huge market and profit from that, I can't bring myself to be that superficial. For me, it would be superficial to do some of that. So I think from what I can tell, I think he's honest. I think he's a little bit full of himself in some ways, and I think he's doing a slight disservice to some of his people by allowing them to see him a certain way. But I think for the most part, I think he's just doing his job. I think that's just who he's supposed to be. Anti-Kami question, have you studied the channels you are envious of? Have I studied them? What do you mean by that? What other steps are you taking to overcome the competition? Well, I'm not trying to overcome the competition, let's be clear. I don't have a problem. It's not me versus them. Because there's already a lot of people who follow my channel who follow a bunch of other people. Other people who I don't like, some people I do like. So I'm not, there's plenty of room for everybody. Have I studied his channel? Yeah, I'm in the sense that I, check to see which videos are popular. I listen to him. I say, is that something I can talk about? Lots of times, here's the thing about me is that I honestly don't walk around, I swear to you, I don't walk around thinking I am enlightened guru. I swear to God, I'm just some surfer dude. That's all I am. I'm a guy who likes to surf. Wow, she looks really hot. I want to go to the gym and look buff. I want to feel good and be happy. I like to practicing martial arts. I don't really know what I know until something sparks it within me. And then I realize that, there's this Jupiter retrograde in the 8th house in me. Jupiter is knowledge that goes beyond words. There's this knowledge within me that I really don't identify with as being anything other than just... See, the thing is, I just think that this is everybody sees this. It took me years to realize that people don't see it. And I had to get over my false humility about I actually have knowledge and awareness and I can see stuff that other people can't see. I don't mean see stuff. I mean, see stuff. And then my job is to unpack it. So somebody will, this is why I do these questions and answers, because you'll ask me a question and it unpacks this huge, truth bomb that is in me that I'm not even aware of. So, yeah, I mean, that's why I use him for that, to stimulate me to think about, hey, that's a really good topic. Oh, people want to hear about that? I can talk about that for hours. I have a gift in that you can give me mythological scripture, and just by reading it once, I can tell you exactly what it means. And I look at that and I kind of marvel at that, because it took me a while to realize that's a gift. Not everybody can do that. So that just gives you an idea. That's one of the reasons I'm supposed to be here. But I'm not trying to compete with anybody. I want everybody to be as successful, and wherever you find the truth, find it anywhere and everywhere. I swear I have no need to be a teacher. I have no personal attachment to the idea of being a teacher. That's why nobody here knows. None of my neighbors know. Nobody knows. You guys know, but you've seen I'm very private. I don't let you guys into my life. I don't give you my email or my phone number unless you're my client. I don't care. I don't need anybody to know. I prefer to just be an average person. This is my job. This is what I came here to do. Waji Smaji question, what do you mean by escaping reincarnation? Why not other lives either here on earth or elsewhere? What I mean by that is that's clickbait, because there's tons of people out there that want to escape this matrix, and they want to escape their life, and they think that by stopping reincarnating as a human that they'll avoid their pain. And I spend a lot of time telling them that no, human beings are the most privileged beings in the universe, that everywhere, even on other worlds and other planets and other dimensions where all kinds of stuff goes on, somebody says, oh my God, I just got called up to be a human. Everybody goes, oh my God, you get to go to Earth? Oh man, you are so lucky. Hey man, remember me and do this and go become God. And then, like, yeah, I will. This is the best place to be. And it's all up to you whether or not you want to accept that, or whether you want to get all wrapped up in whatever. If you're not able to accept the assumption that you are God and take action towards it, then you can be as miserable as you choose to be. I'm not judging it. I went through a lot of misery in my life. So that's why. Media box versus your teachings that are more targeted. Okay, I already answered that. Jia Wei question, where can I get a mala? You can get them on Amazon or eBay. Are they authentic? I don't know. I got this one off of eBay. I just typed in 108 bead mala, and this came. All of these came too. I just didn't type in 108, and they're not 108 beads. And it's like, well, the whole point of them is that they need 108 beads. Actually, this one might have 108, but other ones did. This is the only one that I use. So you type in 108 bead mala, and I don't know. What do you mean authentic? They have 108 beads on them with a tassel, then they'll do the job. I don't know what authentic means. Doesn't matter. You can get all wrapped up if you want about whether or not it's a Rudraksha or this or that, and it's the right gemstone. You can get all wrapped up in that. Some people do. I don't. Wilhelmer Olive for questions. Say a particular tribe formulated a plan to remove everyone from their spiritual roots. All right. Would they be a group worth fighting? All right, so what you've just done is you've introduced an assumption. Now, I don't like people shoving their assumptions down my throat. So if I choose not to accept your assumption that a tribe planned to remove everyone from their spiritual roots, have you ever seen that happen? I mean, I've seen religion come in and do that. Would they be a group worth fighting? What is this? Were the Nazis, quote unquote, really wrong? What are you doing on my channel, man? Have you not watched? How can you look? Let's just get something clear here before we go any further. Your question is a racially charged question, and I resent it. I'm offended by it. You're looking at somebody who is descended from Africans. Is that a problem for you? Is that a problem for you that 50,000 years ago my Indo-European ancestors came from Africa and came up into the northern hemisphere and they populated all of northern Europe, and then they lived through 50,000 years of ice ages, and in order to survive, the people with the lightest skin survived? Is that a problem for you? Because if it is, then this is the wrong channel for you. I can't do anything about your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, but if you want to come onto my channel and passive-aggressively throw out some kind of pro-white supremacy crap on my channel, I'm going to tell you that if you're a racist, you're a pussy, and you have no business on my channel. You still want to stay? You still want to watch my channel? Don't ever ask me that kind of question again. Grow up. Seriously, grow the fuck up. All right. Jameson Colliday question. Does the Immortal Phase 1 have a morning component, or is it like Celestial Qigong and only at night? I would do it at night, but you can do it in the morning if you want. I would do it at night because if we end up getting to levels 2 and 3, you'll see that it's better done at night. So that's my suggestion. It's not a hard and fast rule. Wazzy Smazzy question. What do you think of Edgar Cayce's philosophy on providing spiritual services to others for free of charge while accepting donations? What do you think about it? Why are you asking me? You obviously have an opinion. I'd be more interested. Before I answer that, why don't you tell me your opinion instead of pretending to ask me a question? I will give you this one time only opportunity to give your opinion on my channel. But don't couch an opinion in a question. Give me your opinion first, and then I'll tell you what I think. Wilhelmer, it's not an assumption. Yeah, I know. You were using a really you were seducing me into pulling me into your question. Now I know what the question's about. And again, I find it offensive and disgusting. All right, let's see. Yeah, so you know what, Wilhelmer? I mean, whenever you say something like you said, which is now hidden because YouTube automatically hides it, that's it. I'm done with you. You can come on my channel and watch as many videos as you want, but the fact that you would even say that, and you and I know what you said, nobody else does, and I'm not going to dignify it. You don't get to comment on my channel anymore. So that's it for you, pal. It's too bad because you had some decent questions. It's too bad you have to hold on to that childish crap. And I pity you. How does that feel? I pity you. Is that what you want out of life, to feel pity? I feel pity for you. Anyway, enough of that. Lucifer, Apollo, that's not a question. All right. Okay, so let's get back. Yeah, so I gotta shake off that. I got that bad smell in my nose. All right, so let's laugh a little bit, and let's see here. Let's find. Tell me what you guys think. I'll ask you guys. What do you think? Should I make this guy a character? Should I do more with this guy? I have some thoughts about it, but I don't know if I'm motivated to do it. People of Earth have been wondering, is Thanos real? When is he going to arrive on planet Earth? Well, I'm here to tell you, my children, that I am here. And I have a command for you. If you wish to escape annihilation, you will go to the thunderwizard.com YouTube channel and you will subscribe before I close my... All right, so you can tell me whether or not you think that guy should be part of my repertoire, if I should create him as a character or not. I'm okay if I do or don't. So Wazi Schmazi has answered my question, what does he think? Because he asked, what do I think about Edgar Casey's idea that spiritual teachers should teach for free and take donations? And then I asked him to tell me his opinion. He says, when I learned of Edgar Casey's stance, I admired it and wondered about other spiritual teachers. So I don't have any problem if somebody wants to do that. I don't think there's any one way to do it. Here's the bottom line. First off, you don't realize how much breadth I'm giving you, because I normally don't answer questions about other teachers. The reason why I don't answer questions about other teachers is, number one, it's potentially disrespectful to them because I'm not them, and you're asking me to tell the world my opinion on another teacher, and I might be talking out of my ignorance, and I might say something negative about them or something positive about them. I've done that before too. I've said something positive about teachers who I found out were really horrifically destructive. So it's potentially disrespectful to them and destructive for me to give you my opinion on another teacher. It's disrespectful to me because it says that you don't have enough respect for me to ask me about my teachings, and or you haven't put the time and effort into learning enough about me to ask me about my teachings. You ask me about my teachings, I'm going to go off for hours and hours about it. So asking me about another teacher, normally I don't put up with it. The reason why I wanted your opinion on it is because it was obvious that you had an opinion. And you may not know it, but your question was passive aggressive. You were saying, this guy says that, and this is a published, psychic, and he's really well known, and he says that spiritual teachers should do, what do you think about that? You're putting me on, you're testing me, and it puts me in a position to, so let's just get that out of the way. You weren't asking me a question. You were telling us your opinion, and you were pretending to ask a question. It's classic passive aggressiveness. Having said that, I don't think that it wasn't an honest question. But I'll share with you. There has always been the rule of um, equal exchange of energy. If you go to Mongolia today and you work with a shaman, the word shaman is a Mongolian word. That's where we get it. We get it from them. If you go to a shaman and you want the shaman to help you, the shaman will ask money, because that's what they use there now. They use money. People often say, yeah, Native Americans don't take, which isn't true, but Native Americans don't take money, they take tobacco or blanket. It doesn't matter. At some point, that was the equivalent of money. There has to be an exchange. Now, if a teacher, for his own karmic well-being, chooses to give his teachings as a gift or as a charity, he is still getting something from it. He's doing it for his own sake to get a karmic reprieve. But even priests, who go around the world feeding people or whomever, they get paid. Somebody pays their bills. And it's the congregation back in, Des Moines, Iowa or whatever. So the reason why this is an issue is because it wasn't an issue in the past. It's never been an issue in the past. The ancient Taoist guys the sect that I learned from, they used to walk through the village and people were so afraid of them, they'd throw money in the street. It's very clear from the mythology that in Scandinavia, pre-Christian Scandinavia, when the staff carrier women, which were the highest of knowledge, were the women. Ironically enough, in the Germanic community, the women held all the knowledge. When they walked through the streets, people would throw money at them too. If she knocked on your door, you better have a handful of coins for her. So this idea that spiritual teachers should work for free is a new idea. It's only been in the last, depending on where you live, the last 1,000 to 2,000 years that this idea has come. And it's come with the idea of Jesus. The idea that Jesus, who looks down on you as somebody that's, you poor, stupid, sinful, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do, as I give my life for them. That you can't get it yourself because you're such a pathetic piece of garbage. And so this idea is brand new. Now, that doesn't mean that people can't do things to be helpful. I don't tell you guys, I don't advertise the ways that I give of myself and of my knowledge for free. I don't advertise it, but I do it. And I'm not even going to tell you how, because it's none of your business. But the idea that a spiritual teacher should work for free comes from people who are still looking for mom and dad's love. Because what they want, when somebody wants a spiritual teacher to do things for free, what they want is they want unconditional love, because that's what that represents to them. When a student just thinks that a teacher should give to them for free, and we're talking somebody who spent, I'm not talking about myself here, but we're talking about somebody who spent decades in their training, in their learning, and in their experience. And you're expecting them to come and give that to you for nothing just because you're alive. That is what parents do to kids. Parents give kids money. For any other reason, just because you're my kid. You need a car? Okay, whatever. You need clothes, you need shoes, you need advice, let's go fishing and I'll tell you that's what a father does. That's what a mother does. So when somebody, and it's almost always younger people and or people who have difficulty with money because they, whatever, all kinds of other psychological reasons for it. But what they want is they want unconditional love, and they're mistaking the spiritual teacher for the parent. I'm not your parent. So what do I think about it? I think there's nothing wrong with it if that's what somebody does, but I can tell you from experience that the majority of teachers who do that, who won't charge for their time, but they take donations, they are resentful about it. and they have shame. They don't have the balls to come out and say, hey, look, in order for me to survive, I need to make X amount of money per hour, and so I'm going to charge this to come and do this service. They don't have the balls. They're more interested in people telling them, oh, that's so good, you're so spiritual, and they're more interested in that than actually doing their job. Because the other thing is that money, or whatever it is that you exchange for a teacher's wisdom, protects the student from the unconsciousness of the teacher. As I've said before, every single teacher on this planet, if they have a skin bag on them, are still imperfect. They still haven't achieved their full awareness, because if they did, they wouldn't be human anymore. And it's childish to think that somebody walking around on two legs who poops and craps is perfect. It's childish. And any teacher who allows a student to think that of them is at the very least in delusion and destructive, whether they realize it or not, and many of them do. They are destructive. There's no shortage of the God men out there. I mean, I could name names. Some of them that I'm quite sure some of you listening to me think are really spiritual. There's no shortage of them that sexually abused their students, that lied to them, that manipulated them, that cheated them. There's no shortage of them. Some of them were great teachers and they were brilliant and they definitely channeled knowledge, but they were imperfect. So if somebody comes to me and they want my spiritual help, they have to pay me, because if they don't, they're putting me in danger of infecting them with my unconsciousness. Because when a student pays me money, what ends up happening is that I now have no agenda. I've gotten what I need. That money's going to help me, buy fruit juice and buy protein bars and help me to buy this computer so that I can do my job. You've now taken care of my agenda and I don't need anything from you, which frees me up to go, okay, how can I best help this person? There's no shortage of people in my life that have come to me that have wanted to have relationships with me, friendship and romantic. And the moment somebody comes to me, if their first interaction with me is as a student or a client, that's the way it has to be forever. I know, because I've tried it and it's always been disastrous. Because I'm going to want something from you. If you come to me and you want to be my friend and you don't pay me for my time, I'm going to want something from you. That's why there's so many spiritual teachers out there that have sexual relationships with their students, because that's one of the things that happens. Listen, a really hot, beautiful 20-something model comes walking up to me and says, will you teach me how to do Qigong? I'm going to go, oh crap, I never get to date her. Yeah, I charge $108 an hour. I'd be happy to teach you. And I never get to do anything other than be her teacher. And then she can come to me and she can have whatever feelings she wants. She can hit on me and be attracted to me. And because she's paid me, she is now free from me ever taking advantage of that. I'll never sleep with her, but I will talk to her about how she's projecting her feelings onto me. And this is really about wanting to connect to the universe. And you can tell me anything and she will always be safe with me. That's why it's so important that we get out of this childish nonsense about teachers can't be paid. You should pay your teacher. You pay everybody else. You should pay your teacher. So that's what I think about it. I think that the way that you stated the question, there's nothing wrong with that as long as he knows it. And if he's professional, if he's a spiritual teacher and he's made the decision, let's say he's that he is independently wealthy and he doesn't need to do this, and this is something he does out of his own soul, and somebody comes to him and says, will you teach me? And he says, yes, here's my donation bowl, and the person puts in a penny. Now there's a professional relationship. They've just paid him for his services, and as long as he can stay professional, then I'm all for it. But here's another fact. Students learn when it hurts. When you have to come out of pocket and it hurts, you're going to follow my direction to the letter because you're going to get your money's worth. And every time, I know because I've done this, every time that I've taught for free, every time, when I've gone out there and said, I teach this for free, I just want to teach this, I did that early on, just like everybody else. And people came, and they came when they felt like it, and they did it when they felt like it, and then they didn't learn. But as soon as I put a price tag on it, people showed up on time, and they learned whatever I was teaching them, because it cost them money. So the best thing I can do for anybody is to charge for my time. How's that for an answer? Anti-commie question: have you dealt with people with racially charged stuff like that frequently? Yes. I am the Thunder Wizard. I teach Teutonic shamanism. I have books about the Norse gods, and I talk about my ethnic ancestry, and I work with Thunar and Odin and all the gods of the Norse pantheon. And there's a bunch of racist idiots out there who have hijacked that and think that that has something to do with race. And yes, they come onto my channel, and yes, they do what this idiot did, and I tell them to grow a pair, and if you're going to come on my channel, don't talk that garbage or I'm going to block you. Happens all the time. Wanderer question: thinking of retiring in Idaho. Are there areas recommended by you? Good energy mountains, creeks, lakes? Well, I haven't been in Idaho for over, let's see, I left Idaho at the end of 2012. So 8 years ago. Here's what I found. Idaho's burning up. So when I first got there in 2003, I could drive my car hundreds of miles in any direction in the mountains and just be surrounded by pristine, green, beautiful pine tree forests. And within 10 years, there was 1 or 2 areas I could go to that hadn't either died or burned off. The fires there every year when I was there, they would choke Boise. The global, whether or not you want to believe in it, anti-commie, I saw it. So whether or not you want to call it global warming or climate change, it has come. And the ecology is changing there. So I wouldn't retire there. That's why I'm here in Australia. If you want to know, this is one of the main reasons I'm here. Because I got tired of watching all the pine trees die. And they're dying in California now too. And it's because it's too warm. The winters are too warm. They're not cold enough to kill off all the bugs and all of the, all the diseases what's happening is that when we go through a climate shift, nature says, oh, this is the wrong ecosystem, so let's bring in bugs and other things to kill off these plants, and we'll bring in other plants instead. So the earth is changing the ecosystem. It's destroying. I can't even tell you how many thousands of acres. So I wouldn't retire there for that reason. Having said that, if you can find places in the sawtooths that are still green and beautiful, that's nice. I personally didn't like it there. I found the people there to be nice, but really kind of closed-minded and uneducated. You can probably guess what my politics are. So I didn't like that for that reason. So that's my opinion on that. But I also know you're probably different than I am, and maybe you'll love it there. The thing to do about any place is go check it out. So I would go live. I would live in Lowman. If you want to live in the mountains but not be way up where it gets really super cold, Lowman is a good place. I'd live there. If you want to retire and be by yourself and have like a 4-wheel drive and be out in the middle of nowhere, that's one place to go. Other than that, I can't really tell you. Other than that, Idaho's pretty boring. If you're not in the mountains, it's just high desert, and it's just boring and lots of potatoes. Lots of farmers. Which is great if you're a farmer. Wanderer question, that's the other. Oh, I thought Anti-Commie had asked that question. I took by his name that he was, more Republican than I am. So Wanderer, no, maybe you're different than I am. There is a pretty cool contingency of pagans out there in Idaho, if you can find them, in Boise. There's lots of nature, there's lots of rivers. If you like hunting, there's plenty of hunting. I don't. I'm not a hunter. I'm just saying. In fact, I don't believe people should hunt unless they need to. I think hunting because it's fun. I think there's something wrong with that. Anyway, I'm not going to get all bent out of shape over that, but that's just me. Sonic Fox. Sonic Fox is saying that I should make Thanos a character. All right, so there's one vote for Thanos. Wanderer threw down $4.99. Thank you, sir. Says keep it up. Thank you, sir. Aloran, question. You wear Mjolnir and Eoshalmer and yet defend those who labeled those symbols of my folk. What do you mean? I don't defend them. I don't defend people who use these in a racist way. Where did you get the idea that I defend them? Show me one place where I have written or I have said anything in support of white supremacy. Find one. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Did I read your question wrong? You wear Mjolnir and Eoshalmer, yet defend those who label those symbols of my folk racist. So yeah, I defend those who label those. I defend people who are fighting against the use of this. What I hear in your question is that you think this is a symbol of white supremacy, of white exclusionism. And I completely disagree with you. So you might want to think about whether or not this is the right channel, if I'm reading your question right. The best thing for you to do if you want to come on my channel and enjoy it, don't ever utter that crap in my presence. I have no patience for any of it. Wazi Schmazi, thank you. Much respect for your okay. IOX question, top 3 tips to spot a good teacher. First thing is, do they have... all right, first one is, do they teach something that resonates with you, whether you're aware of it or not? It might be the way that they look. It might be the way that they sound. That's your unconscious telling you there's something about them that you like. Is there something that they say that interests you? Okay, so that's the first one. Second one is, do they walk the walk? I personally have a really hard time with people that really overdo the whole, like wearing the turban and the beard and the flowing robes. Now, bear in mind, I'm wearing my costume as much as I can tolerate. But as you can see, I mean, I'm not, I'm just, this is what looks best, I think, on me. A black t-shirt with, sleeves off, and then I wear my stuff. And sometimes I'll put on the other things, but that's a personal thing. So see if they walk the walk. And third, only follow those who, well, for me, if it were me, I only want to follow those who have either actually achieved what they talk about or are showing you how they're doing it. The other thing that I had a problem with the other guy who I won't mention, who I'm on the fence about, who I'm envious of, but at the same time I have criticisms of, is that he talks about really lofty things, but he doesn't talk about whether or not he himself experienced it, or if he learned it, or if he heard it third hand. I always try to qualify. Like when I talked about the last time about, can tantric sorcerers raise the dead? I told you about what I thought was possible based on stories that I had heard from people that were associated with the sect that I was in. I was very clear about that. I didn't claim to have done it. I didn't claim to have seen it. I talk about exorcisms because I've done it. So I'm talking from personal experience. So bottom line is, can they talk from personal experience? Those are the 3 things I would look for in a teacher. Jameson Colliday question continued. Do you personally compartmentalize aspects of your life depending on who you are with? I don't understand your question. I don't consciously do it, but like I said, look, this is my job. When I hit record, I'm doing my job. I don't take my job with me everywhere I go. My dad was a physicist. flat earthers out there. My dad was one of the premier scientists who paved the way for the space race. He, at one point in his life, had the moniker of being the one man who had designed more satellites than any one man in the world. My dad was big and deep in all that, and yet he didn't talk about that at all when he was at home. When he was at home, he was just dad. I mean, he would go off in his study and do some stuff, and if I really, really asked him, he might tell me about it, but he didn't, that's just what he did for work. This is what I do for work. So do I consciously compartmentalize? Yeah, I want to have a normal life because, once people, experience the Mahadeva part of me, it's hard for them to see me as human. And then when they do, they get, they get offended and hurt and, all that kind of stuff. So unless somebody really presses me on it, I don't share it. But I'm not choosing to compartmentalize it out of anything other than just, I don't need for people to know. I don't care. So I'm not sure I understand why you're compartmentalizing. Next time we have a session, I'll want to know about that, because I'll know whether or not you're doing it in a way that's destructive to your happiness. How is this technique of self-preservation different from hiding and destroying one's true self? Well, because I'm not hiding from the average person down the street what I'm doing because I'm trying, out of shame. I do it because it's, I get it out. One of the things that happens is, like, the people who want to come and tell me what I ought to do, and they want to criticize me for not being this or that. That's why I say go be a teacher, because if they can pull up their nutsack and go be a teacher, then they'll get it out of their system, and then they won't have to troll my channel and do, because what'll happen is it'll come out. If I didn't teach, it would have to come out somewhere, and it would come out in a passive aggressive way. I'd be sitting next to somebody on the bus, and I'd be saying, what you're doing right there, and that means that, and you shouldn't be this, and you should meditate, and people are like, get the hell away from me, man. What the hell's wrong with you? So that's a different thing. So that would be hiding it out of shame, and then out of unconsciousness it'll come out. So if you really want to be conscious about it, Jameson, whatever it is we're talking about, go really be out there and do it, and find the appropriate way to let it out in a way that's self-empowering, and then you won't have to worry about even asking that question. But I understand it's a worthwhile question, and it's something we can continue to talk about. Jameson is one of my apprentices. That's why I keep saying that. Lady J. Edwina, White Will Owl 13, question. Shamanic breath number 1, 3-1, 3-1. How many minutes should I do in each sitting? Doesn't matter. Start with 3, move on to 7, move to 9, 11. You can do it as long as you want. There isn't a preferred way. It's just, if you're doing it to go into trance, then do it for as long until you're in a trance state, and then do whatever shamanic work you want to do. You can just make it. What she's talking about is one of my earlier videos about the shamanic breath. And you inhale for 3, you hold it for 1, you exhale for 3, hold it out for 1. So if I were to do that right now, it would be like this. Inhale. I've already put myself into a more relaxed state. Maybe I should do that every time some racist comes on. I should just not say anything. Just get my, because I get so upset about that. Let's see what else. Squirrel Gravy question. Money is an incentive not to take sexual advantage of your students. Well, yeah. I mean, it's not the only thing, but yeah. Like I said, I'm totally human. I like women. I love enjoying that part of life. I embrace that. If a beautiful, attractive woman walks up to me and I'm single, the first thought in my mind is, oh my God, I wonder if I can date her. And if she says, I'd like to pay you to teach me, then I now have an incentive to not do that, because it would, even if she wants it. And some of them do. A lot of, if you're a spiritual teacher, you're going to get hit on. It's going to happen. And you have to understand that that's not you that they're hitting on. What's happening is that they're working through their daddy issues. They're working through their projection of, they see, Shiva, and they want to connect to Shiva, and they're sexualizing that. And you have to be mature enough to be able to say, I would love to, I wish I could, but I can't. You're my student. I love you. And I love you unconditionally, and I can only help you as a student. So to answer your question, yes. Money is an incentive that keeps it in my pants so that I can be constructive and healthy and be helpful to somebody, and my own karma. Because that's taking advantage of somebody. If you sleep with a student, you're taking advantage of them. And it's something, there's payback for all that stuff. And as much as I want that, I don't want the payback more than I want, I want to avoid the payback more than I want to experience whatever. And let me set the record straight. I am human. I have human needs and desires just like anybody else. I have not, and I love that part about me. So if you have any illusions about me not being human, let me just destroy those right now. Wazzy Smazzy question, do you work with the financially disadvantaged? What do you mean? Poor people? I don't know what that means, financially disadvantaged. There's so many assumptions in that, I could go on for hours. Some people are not financially able to acquire certain things. Yeah, but the question is, do you want to change that? Are we talking about you? Are you financially disadvantaged? Look, one of the things I don't do is I'm not going to co-sign people's poverty. I accept what you say, that at the moment right now in your bank account, you don't have the money that you want, or you have debts or something like that. I acknowledge that. But do you want to stay there? Because I'm not going to co-sign that. The other thing is, I have a YouTube channel that has something like 700 videos on it, and this video itself doesn't cost you a thing to watch. I have no shortage. I mean, Wazzy Smazzy, go on my channel, watch my videos. The Thor's Hammer, Qigong, all of the mantras, all of the meditations, all of the rituals that I teach you how to do, the Hool breath. Go on to my channel. If you don't have any money, don't complain to me about wanting, go on my channel. There's no shortage of stuff on there, high level stuff. There's something that I have that you want. It's not fair of me. Somebody else is paying right now. If somebody else right now wants to get a Vedic astrology reading from me, they're paying $398. It's not fair to them for me to give you a special rate because you're financially disadvantaged. One of the things that you can do is decide not to be financially disadvantaged. Make the decision. The way that you've proven that you're not going to do that is you start spending money on things you want. Then you'll start getting really creative about finding ways to make money. In fact, here's one you should go right here, right now, if this is your case. career.thunderwizard.com. Whoops. Thunderwizard.com. Go right there, and you can scroll down and get a session with me, and within an hour I can help you find out what your most lucrative career can be, and I will encourage you to go do it, and I might even have ideas on how to help you do it. If you don't want to do that, you can get the how to find your perfect career. The whole point of it is that you'll make money. Here's the bottom line. The way the universe works is this. I've proven this. I didn't read it somewhere. I've proven it in my life. The universe wants to pay you money to be your authentic self. If you are poor, you are not living your authentic self. End of discussion. If you can figure out what your authentic self is and you start living it, the universe will start paying you as much as it takes for you to be happy and comfortable. If I lived in the mountains, like I did before, I lived in the mountains for a while and it was really inexpensive to live there. I wouldn't have to have a whole lot of money. I could have a car and have a house and have everything I needed for geez, 20, 30 grand a year. I'm living right now in a 3-bedroom house in Australia, and I have all kinds of surfboards, and I have all kinds of other things in my life that I want to indulge in that cost money. And so that is my spiritual path of who I am. And the universe provides me with what I need. It's not about how much, it's about being comfortable. So if you're disadvantaged, you're not living your authentic self. I can help you with that if you want my help. But I'm not going to help you by placating your victim mentality and giving you a special discount just because you're financially disadvantaged. Again, go watch Arnold. Go watch Arnold's speeches. I mean his what do you call those things? Motivational speeches that he has on YouTube are excellent. Don't ever let anything stop you from what you want. If you want more money, there are ways you can get it. And I teach people how to do that. Alessia K, please write the word question, or I don't know you're asking a question. No, you can't pay in Bitcoin. The chi is from the matrix or outside. So I don't know if you're on your phone, but one of the 2 most important things in life are to pay attention and put effort. So if you want to ask a question, actually put the effort into writing a subject, an object, and a verb so that I know exactly what you're asking. You're asking me a question because you obviously want me to answer you, so it must be important to you. So give yourself the respect of writing the whole question to make sure that I understand it. Otherwise, I might not give you the answer you need. Okay? The chi is from the matrix or outside. You're trying to ask me, is chi from inside the matrix or outside of the matrix? The matrix is chi. There you go. Who is that? Olarin question. How does one overcome cognitive dissonance? I don't even know if I know what that word means. You mean confusion? That's really what you're asking. Confusion? Ask a more pointed question. That's just such a broad question. That feels like just I wanted to come up with a question. That sounds really good. Look at my big words here. How does that affect you? Are you confused? Do you need help? What are you confused about? Try your question again. I'm going to let Zero Aleph, I'm going to let his question come through. YouTube looks for certain words and blocks them for obvious reasons. So Zero Aleph says, oh crap, did I? Whoops, viewed, I accidentally deleted it. His question, can I turn that back on? No. All right, so I'm going to keep that on there. So Zeralaf goes to temple, or is descended from people who go to temple and celebrate Passover. I'm avoiding the word because YouTube looks for certain words and then won't let me get advertising from it. So he says, as somebody who is descended from people who celebrate Passover and practices Asatru, I have found most Caucasian people are racist once they learn my heritage. Is heritage even important? No. I studied with Africans. I am considered to be a master of African shamanic drumming by Africans. I've studied with Taoists. I've studied with Koreans and Japanese and Chinese people. I was married to a woman who was half Chinese. My soulmate, who passed away, who I wish was still here with me, was of the same descent as you are. I could go on and on and on. Of course not. You don't need to ask that question, do you? There's nowhere in the myths where it says that Odin and Vili and Ve created a certain group of people. It says that, they created humans. So of course not. It's ridiculous. You're welcome here. If you want to learn about, I'm not Asatru. Asatru is a modern neo-heathen religion that's been invented. It is not the religion of our ancestors. Our ancestors were polytheists in the same way that Hindus are polytheists. They had a completely different view. They would have looked at you like, what the hell are you talking about? It wouldn't have even been part of their mindset. So of course not. Your heritage is not even close to being important. And the heritage of everybody, whether you like it or not, everybody is a Homo sapien descended from two Africans 100 to 500,000 years ago. That is the fact of the matter. Sorry, it's been proven by science, and the book has been closed on that. You don't have to like that to be the case. It is the case. Even if people say, somebody else wanted to put in Cro-Magnon. No, some people are from, Cro-Magnons is the same thing. Cro-Magnons are Africans who ended up in, they're the precursors of humans. Same thing with the Neanderthals. Neanderthals are Homo heidelbergensis from Africa that made their way up into the northern hemisphere, and they were in the northern hemisphere in ice ages for 200,000 years. That's why we have red hair, light skin, and light eyes. We got it from them. And everybody, including no matter what your skin color is, if you're in the northern hemisphere, anywhere outside of Africa, you have anywhere from 2 to 4% Neanderthal in you. Neanderthals are Africans. They just got there a long time ago. So no matter what you say, you still end up back in Africa. I was watching, what's his name? The scientist, I forget his name, African-American scientist, the physicist, the astrophysicist, I forget his name. And he had some really good things to say about that. He said that we all know that all life, including human life, came from Africa. And he said that Africa has the most diverse genetic, there's more diverse genetics in Africa than outside of it. The only thing that's the same is they all share the same skin color. Other than that, the diversity is huge. And he went on to say that Africa is 5 times larger than the continental United States. And so he says, if you're going to look for something in the extreme, the place on earth, just from a statistical point of view, you want to go to Africa. You want to find the tallest people? You're going to find them in Africa. Find the shortest people? You're going to find them in Africa. So you've got the Watusis, and then you've got the Pygmies. So check that out. If you're going to find the fastest people, you're going to find them in Africa. The slowest people, you find them in Africa. The stupidest people, you'll find them in Africa. The smartest people, you'll find them in Africa. Because Africa has the largest diversity of ethnic and biological diversity on the planet for the human race. That's a fact. And people outside of Africa, their racial and ethnic similarity is much more similar. So you're going to have less of a diverse population outside of Africa, just from that alone. So the whole idea that people can come up any kind of isolation based on just your skin color is incredibly stupid. Just from a mathematical perspective, we're talking about an ignorant, stupid idiot who doesn't understand just basic mathematics. Forget about the fact that they're emotionally and psychologically so retarded and immature that they can't grasp the concept. That they're so afraid of anything different from what they think is different from themselves. They can't grasp the basic concept. Anyway, I just had to get that out. So Philip Church, Waji Smazi, Philip Church, yeah. So it's cognitive dissonance is when someone tries to hold two mutually incompatible ideas from the internal discomfort and strain from that. Confusion. You just described confusion in a very very pedantic way. Now, why is Wazi Shmazi asking me that question? That's what I'm more interested in. Why is he asking me about cognitive dissonance? Is it because there are things that I'm saying that create a cognitive dissonance within him? Meaning, are there things that are confusing to him? So cognitive dissonance is saying that somebody is looking at something dualistically. It has to be either this or that, and it can't be both at the same time. I can't accept that. And we know that's not true with a lot of things. You can't, light can be both a particle, a wave, and neither. So there may be things that I believe in that's going to cause cognitive dissonance within perhaps Wazi or Philip Church. I don't know. Maybe Philip's just helping me out maybe Wazi's just helping me out. But that's okay with me. It just means that I don't have to be forced into an extreme position or take a dualist viewpoint of something. I may have a more holographic view of something than some people about some things. Alessia K, there we go. Again, please use a whole sentence. So go outside the matrix means chi explosion. Write a full sentence. That's not enough. And the answer to your question is no. It's not what it means. I mean, can we use chi to connect with the matrix? The matrix is chi. When you do qigong, you're connecting to the matrix. Do you get it? When you do my celestial qigong, you're connecting directly to the matrix. If you want to learn how to give the matrix commands, do celestial qigong, and when you're done, at the end, send out a command. Watch what happens. Okay, so Alessia, I'd like for you to learn how to discipline yourself. Writing more and more half questions doesn't make it okay. I'd like for you to start a new habit. Get the discipline. When you have a question, write out the word question in all caps so that I can see it. Listen to what I say. I say this all the time. And then write the whole sentence in a way to make sure that I understand exactly what you're saying. Make sure that you express yourself. Put the effort. Don't be lazy. Put the effort into expressing yourself because it's important for you to get the answer. If you want to be my student, you're going to have to put effort into reading, into researching, into practicing. If you want to get the most out of my channel, you're going to have to discipline yourself to do that. Okay? I'm happy to help you. And this is the first thing. The universe will also respond to you better if you're able to consciously know what it is you want to say and be able to verbalize it. Neil deGrasse Tyson, that's the guy. Thank you. Question, is the matrix feminine? Zeralath, does it have a masculine complement? Zeralath, you come onto my channel a lot. Have you read my books? Is the web of weird masculine or feminine? Or the Norns masculine or feminine? The Norns are goddesses. They are giantesses. So that's feminine. They weave. That's a symbol. In ancient times, who were the people that sit around and knitted and wove? Was the matrons. Feminine. Though I've said many times that you have heard me say that the matrix is the same as the goddess Maya. Maya is illusion. It's feminine. Pay attention, put effort. You already knew the answer to that question. Yes, it is feminine. Does the matrix have a masculine complement? Complement? Yeah. But the masculine doesn't create. Masculine seeks to be in the emptiness of reality, It is the feminine that draws the masculine down and then seduces it into the act of lovemaking, which creates. So the masculine has a role in creation, but it is enticed by the feminine. The feminine is the impetus, the stimulation for creation. So Aloran asked the question, Matt Dowling says, he's gonna school me here. Aloran asked the question about cognitive dissonance regarding the defense of the people who view the symbol as racist. So what are my thoughts about the cognitive dissonance about, well, yeah, you're talking about you're just trying to fancy way of saying the hypocrisy. Is that what you're saying? That people who use this symbol to promote a racialist viewpoint, that there's a cognitive dissonance between Thor being the protector of all humans and the cognitive dissonance of those who confuse this and use it for something else. Yeah. All right. So you use the word that's even too fancy for me. But the bottom line is you're asking the question. So what do you think about the fact that they're saying one thing when it means something else? I think I'm pretty clear on how I view that. Lauren. All right, I'll just let you guys talk to each other. I don't like you guys talking to each other. I prefer that you don't, but I'll let you guys do that in this case. I don't see any more questions. So you know what happens if you don't have any more questions? I'm going to either sell you something or I'm going to promote myself in some way. Zerlath. Okay, he's just explaining himself. All right, so I am politically minded, and I do want to take this format to promote my political viewpoints, and I have a candidate for president that I would like to promote here on this channel. Hey there, pay attention. This is Arnold. I have a very important announcement. I am going to be running for president of the United States for 2020. Listen to me now and vote for me later. Hi, this is Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I'm going to be running for the president of the United States of the world. Listen, the United States is the most pumped country in the world. We have the most pumped people. We have the most pumped democracy the world has ever seen. We used to be so pumped in the world. Everybody had respect for us. My God, we were so totally pumped. Nobody would dare look us in the eyes. We won every single war there ever was. We won the War of Independence. We said to you, hey, England, you British Empire, forget about you. We are more pumped than you. And we won that war. And then there was the First World War. We won that. Here, Europe was fighting with itself. European countries were saying, hey, I don't like you. Hey, I don't like you. They're fighting like that. And then America, looking from across the ocean, said, hey, what are you guys doing? What's wrong with you? Come on, knock it off. And we came over there and we won that war. And then there was the Second World War. And it was all the same kind of things going on. Europe is fighting with each other and the Nazis are taking over all of Europe. And then they start bombing London. And we're watching. And then finally the Japanese come to us and they slap us in the face. And we go, hey, what's going on here? What's wrong with you guys? And we went to the whole world and we pumped and we flexed in front of the whole world. And we won that war too. But that's not what's happening anymore. The United States is not as pumped as it used to be. Nobody respects us like they used to before. Now we are old and flabby and out of shape. We put a big smile on our face and say, hey, we're the United States. Yeah, we're still pumped. But we got this guy running the whole country who thinks that he can just grab the whole world by the private parts. And the world is going, hey, you cannot grab me there anymore. I don't think you are pumped. And they're not listening to us. But I'm telling you now, and you are going to vote for me later, I'm going to come in there and I'm going to make the world a better place because I am going to pump up the United States one more time. And I know, yeah, they say, Arnold, you cannot be president. You were not born here. Hey, it doesn't matter if this guy who becomes the worst kind of idiot in the world goes around grabbing the world by its private parts. This guy can become president. I'm going to say, as Lord Pindar, ruler of the universe, I am going to say that I, Arnold Schwarzenegger, can become president if I decide to. So my new catchphrase is, make America pumped again. But in reality, we're going to make the world pumped again. And when I become president, I am going to legislate. The first thing that I do when I get into office, I'm going to sign the thing, I'm going to hold it up to the camera, and then everybody is required to go to thunderwizard.com, and they're going to subscribe. They're going to hit the bell button. They're going to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Then they're going to go to thunderwizard.com website. And then they're going to subscribe there too. And then they're going to go to courses.thunderwizard.com, and they're going to buy all of the products, all of the books, all of the services that this guy, I'm telling you, the Shaminator, that guy is really, really pumped in the spirit. He's going to pump you up so good spiritually, you're not even going to believe it. So that's it. Get ready, because here I come, world. The world is going to get pumped again, and there's nothing you can do about it. All right, I talk to you later. All right, let's see what we got here. Some questions pop up. Matt Dowling question, do you encourage or discourage use of any plants by your students? Specifically Syrian rue as an aid to meditation. I don't know anything about that plant, so I can't say anything one way or another. So Matt, I recognize your name. Have you watched my channel? I have a video on power plants and hallucinogens, and I've made my thoughts very clear on that. If you're talking about something that is hallucinogenic, or if you're talking about something that's just like taking ginseng, I don't know. So again, I don't know anything about that plant. Point is that you don't need to. Even if we're talking about something like ginseng, which is, you don't need it. So that tells me that you haven't done any of the meditation that I teach, or any of the qigong. Am I wrong? Because if you, especially celestial qigong, you do celestial qigong, you won't even be asking that question. The point is that you need to be able to release the DMT from the pituitary, I believe, naturally. If you do it in any other external way, it ends up working against you. It'll end up aging you and making you less strong, and it will drain your energy body. In some cases, it'll blow your energy body, just warp it all out of just really badly. So the practices I teach will give you all the benefits of that. So I have never heard of that, but why? It's much better without it. It's much stronger. Listen, I get far more, I get so high off of the meditations that I do. I get higher than any hallucinogen, and I experimented with them. Far more than any hallucinogen can possibly do. So don't waste your time. Do the real stuff. Forget about that crap. Yeah, so Alessia, again, the best thing to do is if I point something out to you, you don't need to double down and explain. If I'm asking you to just put the time in to write a question, just put the time in to write a question. You don't need to explain to me why you didn't. It doesn't solve the problem. I want to be able to hear your question and answer it. Put the time and effort into writing a full question and knowing what you want to ask. That's all. And please, guys, try to avoid talking to each other, please. All right, let's see what else. All right, no more questions. So since we have no more questions and I'm starting to get cranky, I need to go take a nap. I was working out past few days because it's raining and storming, so I cannot surf. So I've been spending a lot of time working out, keeping myself healthy and all that, And I need to go eat some protein and take a nap. So that's the deal. You already heard me say that the best thing to do is to go on to thunderwizard.com and subscribe there. Subscribe here as well. And go to courses.thunderwizard.com to see everything that there is. And then I'm promoting this for the next little while, and pretty soon that'll go the way of the dodo soon. So check that out before I get rid of it. I do see one last question. Olerin question: if chi resides within the matrix, why would escaping the matrix remove one from access to chi? Would. Well, look. Chi is life force energy. Life force energy is a three-dimensional thing. Your spirit is something beyond that. So even if we take the assumption that you're introducing in that question, which I am not accepting or rejecting, escaping the matrix, it won't escape you from chi, because if you're in another realm, you may not need chi there. We need chi here. Chi is life force energy. It's not your soul. So it doesn't matter. Your question is kind of moot because it doesn't matter one way or another. Okay? All right, that's it. Again, thank you. I think I've proven that I'm human and limited. All the mistakes I made today. Having said that, yeah, I'll just leave it there. All right, guys, that's it for me. I will see you all later. Stay pumped.